Just walking up a little bit now, and we can see that there's lots of bars open. There is no one in them. And I was looking on a website for Mi Calvia. Mi Calvia produced some local news, and what it said on there was that about half of the hotels in the Calvia area, looking like 70, 80, nearly 80 of them are open. That's out of 150 or more. But when you break it down according to areas, not so quite the same story. So some places like Vietas and Portos Naus, for example, don't have a lot of hotels, but nearly all of them are open. And you go to Pagera, many of the hotels there are open. Even in Palma Nova, many of the hotels are open. But places which are very much geared to British and Irish tourists, they are really suffering. So Mi Calvia said out of 25 hotels that there are in Santa Ponsa, only 5 of them are open. We've just seen one open actually on the front as we drove in. What the other 4 are, I'm not sure. Those numbers will increase, but only when the tourists start to arrive. We did see some bars, restaurants which were actually quite busy. The ones that were busy, the voices that we could hear were Spanish voices. So not so much tourists who are dining, but mostly locals. And here it's very uneven as well. It's Sunday afternoon. It's the 20th of June, and at this time we would normally have in Santa Ponsa be lots of Irish and British tourists, mixed in with the other nationalities as well. We do get some Germans here, and there are Germans here, French, and a smattering of other nationalities, Polish, Belgian, Scandinavian countries. These are all going to be travelling here a lot more easily, particularly at the end of the month when the new vaccine passport is available to everyone in Europe. At the moment it's being trialled in Spain, so we can actually get that and use it to help us to travel. It means we have less formalities to do when you get to the airport or the ports. You just show them your certificate and it has your details on, and that supposedly will help travel after the 1st of July. We'll have to see. Said the weather had been a little bit unusual this weekend. It actually started with Saturday morning. We had some raindrops, but very, very few. But every one of them seemed to be bringing a bucket full of sand with it from the Sahara, and that was getting dumped on everything in sight, so cars were a complete mess. So we were going out last night, Saturday evening we were going out, so Saturday afternoon I took my car down to the car wash, gave it a good spray over to remove the sand, and it was looking quite sparkly. And then we went out for dinner While we were out for dinner, there were a few spots of rain last night with a lot more mud mixed with it, and so the car was again covered in mud. So this morning when we got in it was just as bad as it was before I cleaned it yesterday. So will I clean it this afternoon? I don't think so. I think I will wait and see what's happening with the weather. The clouds have broken today, and we're now seeing some blue sky. It was very, very grey yesterday. We did manage to get down to Puerto Portales, and we did a little walk around there yesterday afternoon. If you watch the video, you can see just how grey it is, and you can see the mud on the boats. So there's a lot of cleaning going on there. I managed to make it to the top of the hill. There was a little bit of puffing and panting there. It is quite warm. I wouldn't say it's as hot, it's nowhere near as hot as it has been. Probably about 24-25 degrees Celsius. We have had it over 30 degrees in the past week. And we were walking up the road there was virtually no breeze. As we got up to the top here, coming down towards the square, there's a little bit more of a breeze, which makes it all very pleasant. But as we were walking up, you could see some of the bars, the restaurants open, again predominantly with Spanish being spoken. So this is a good indication that that's what the visitors are. The people are here at the moment, mostly Spanish. And most places are just empty. Looking across to the Royal Garden, it's open, it's empty. Really sad for the people who've got their businesses here. They're eagerly awaiting changes that have been promised. In Ireland in particular, which has been really badly hit by the restrictions that they've had. And of course the UK, where they promised one thing and something else seems to be delivered or delayed. That again may change in the next week or two. We just have to keep watching the news, and people keep asking me, when's this hotel opening, when's that hotel? There are no real answers to these questions, because some of the places will be waiting until they hear what the news is from Ireland for sure, and from the UK. So here we are at the square. The signs are up. Somebody did tell me actually that they don't usually start until the 1st of July anyway, so this isn't actually unusual. But the chairs are all ready, the sign's up and painted. All the work that's been going on over the past few months as we've been visiting here looks to be complete. The walls have been painted, it's a nice fresh look. Stage is in position. By and large, most of the businesses here are still closed. So Hogan's is not open yet. Bar Prince Pub is not open. The Crown is open. Well, Irish pub is open, and our tour is open. The children's rides have arrived. So it's more or less ready. Looks as though there's a bit of finishing off here to do. So come 1st of July, perhaps we will start to see some live music here. At the moment, nothing. As of last night, bars are now, cocktail bars, restaurants are allowed to open till 2 o'clock in the morning, so that's been extended, so the curfew's gone back. Well, there is no curfew as such anymore, but the closure for the bars and restaurants, which was midnight, has now been pushed back till 2 o'clock in the morning to give them a little bit of extra time. We were out last night and we left the restaurant at about 11:30, but there were still quite a few people around at that time. As far as the UK is concerned, I see one thing that is going to help persuade Boris Johnson to ease the restrictions, and that's the Euro 2020 final, which is all ready to be staged at Wembley. But part of the UEFA's conditions are that the dignitaries, and there's apparently 2,000 of them, are allowed to visit. These 2,000 dignitaries will be coming from other countries, and with the present rules they have to quarantine for 10 days. So they either have to plan their visit 10 days earlier and go into quarantine, and then they could go. But UEFA said now, if there's still a quarantine, we'll move the Euro 2020 final to some other destination. And my feeling is that Boris Johnson really wants that to be at Wembley. He wants it to be a showcase for the UK to the rest of the world, and I don't think he'll let that disappear. So I think he'll change the rules and change the rules so that 2,000 dignitaries will be allowed to go to the UK to watch a football match. If he does that, then pretty much he's got to allow tourists to return to the UK without going into quarantine. So I think that's what he's going to have to do. Whether he changes the traffic light system or just changes the rules somehow, perhaps it will be that everyone has to have their 2 vaccinations. That was something that was talked about in the media yesterday and this morning. And so maybe if all these 2,000 dignitaries have had their 2 vaccinations, I'm sure UEFA can organise that, then they will be allowed to come without going into quarantine. But if they're allowed to do that, then surely the British tourists returning will be able to come back home without having to quarantine as well. So I think maybe that will be how Boris gets out of this one. Alternatively, UEFA may say no and we'll go off and play the final somewhere else. Well, it's getting a lovely breeze here. I don't know what that's doing to the sound on the video, but I'm certainly welcoming the breeze. It was quite hot up there. And because we're getting a breeze, there are a few waves on the sea, so it's not as calm as it's been in the past. And that's also meant that the clouds have cleared largely. There's a few clouds up there, but nothing like the amount of clouds we had before. You can see some of the waves now crashing against the rocks, and we can hear them down below as well. Now, I've got to go down some steps now, so I'm just going to turn the cameras off for a second. So those are the waves we could hear crashing against the little pebbly beach down there. And temperatures are rising, so people are sunbathing. The pool's not in use yet, and earlier on in the winter time we had quite a lot of damage done here in Santa Ponsa. The winds were coming in, and this place here where we can see there's been some recent work done, that was completely blown in. Now the repair work well underway, ready for the tourists to arrive. I don't know how well you can tell, but the water is a little bit choppy here. I'm sure you can hear the noise of the wind blowing. Still no repair to the walkway that goes around the edge there. That makes it a little bit more dangerous. Maybe Calvia have no intention of ever repairing it. The point where Anita says be careful of leaving the handrail now. You need to be very careful. Concentrate on where you're walking, Stephen. Concentrate. Seen these before. Tells you it's a bit dangerous. Actually, that says prohibited to pass. They weren't there before, and they're not actually in position. So you can see all the sunbeds and the parasols are now out, ready for when the tourists do arrive. They're all chained up, so I've actually used them. There's no one here to sell them to you, take the money from you. Some of them are private ones, some of the deck chairs that are here. And even though it is a little bit choppy, a little bit windy today, there's quite a few boats out, as always. But the landing area down here, you can see this boat bobbling around, hitting the side. It's going to get damaged if somebody doesn't take a bit of care with that. See the beach in the distance. You can see the parasols are there, the sunbeds are out, pedlos on the beach. None of them, or very few of them, are actually being used. Give it another week or so, and I think we'll be actually venturing into the water. Hello.
Good to see you. Maybe you're watching every time from Denmark. So.
You're watching us?
Yeah. Every time from Denmark. So.
Are you?
We went back to Copenhagen last year, so we were watching it in the Santa Ponsa, Mallorca. We've got a little kind of timeshare thing up there.
Fantastic.
In Mimosa, so they're a great show. It's good fun. So. Good to get some live updates when you can't be here. So.
Well, yeah. And, well, it's getting a bit more lively here, but it's still not.
We're lucky because we're in Europe, Copenhagen, we can still travel.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
we came to Saturday for a week. So we've got the little Mimosa apartments up there, so it's nice spot there.
Lovely. So that was nice. Just bumped into Alan from Denmark, Copenhagen, and he's got a lot more freedom because they're in the European Union, but so he can come over here much more easily, more freely than people from the UK or Ireland. But he watches the videos so that he can keep in contact with what's going on here in Santa Ponsa and elsewhere on the island. some more work going on here. Pool here though looks as though it's in use, so that's one improvement. And the restaurant in front where we stopped for a coffee last time is looking really busy, so that's great. Very uneven. Need to watch my steps again. I think the last time we came it was Mother's Day and all the seats were taken here. Today's actually Father's Day. Well, in the UK it's Father's Day, it doesn't count in Spain. Still kind of busy. Around here, walk by the pool. This wasn't actually open at all last time we came, sorry, it was this one in front of us. And, this is where we stopped for a coffee, and it's very busy today as well. Where we stopped last time. But when you hear the voices, they're largely Spanish voices, enjoying their paella. Very typical on a Sunday for families to come out. And paella. On the walkway here. Graffiti, mentioned before.
Yes. So it was nice.
Something that is unusual, we've seen this in Palmanova as well, is at this time of the year still doing work on properties. Usually the rules say that once we get to the high season the work has to stop. It certainly hasn't stopped here. At least they've got some mesh up there to prevent the dust from going all over people as they walk along the promenade. Just noticing myself though that the dust that has settled is making it a little bit slippy down here. Water's still very clear, even though the waves are churning it up a little bit. The water is clear, we can see the bottom. We're just coming round to the beach now. A few people in the sea. So nice when that breeze comes along. families out. They've increased the number of people that can actually sit at a table. Again, as of yesterday, so it's gone up to 12. So much bigger family type groups now can sit at a table. This is outside, of course. Inside, the restrictions haven't changed very much. Still much smaller groups. And the one piece of news that perhaps is interesting to a lot of people who've been contacting me is about the face masks. Do you still have to wear a face mask? Well, as you probably see, I'm wearing a face mask now. Anita's wearing her face mask. Most people are wearing face masks. And the rule, the law says yes, you have to wear a face mask outside, inside, anywhere where you're in a public place. But that rule is due to end next Saturday, the 26th of June. So from the 26th of June, no more face masks. It does have to go before Parliament on Thursday, but I think it's pretty sure that that's going to go through. And there may be some regions of Spain that choose to keep the face mask, but here in Mallorca they're all in favour of it going, at least for outside. You'll still have to wear the face mask inside though. So anytime you're in a public space inside, so if you go into a restaurant or into a bar or into a hotel, you'll have to wear the face mask. Obviously if you're sitting down eating or drinking, you take the face mask off. But any other time you're in a public place and you're not eating or drinking, then the face mask is supposed to be on. And that actually counts for bars and restaurants as well. So lots of sunbeds out, lots of parasols out. There's only 5 hotels in the whole of Santa Ponsa open out of 25. Then there are not a lot of people to use those sunbeds, and they pretty much all look as though they're standing on end. Not many of them, if any, are being used at all. You'll see a flag in front, you can see how strong the wind is. Some of the tourist shops are open. They've been open for quite a while, but many of them are closed. McDonald's there, closed for 18 months maybe. One thing we did notice as we drove in was this hotel across the road is actually open. There's some lounges on the top there. It's not a fantastic view from up there. So this is the H10 Casa del Mar, and the recent one to have opened. So that's looking pretty good. 4-star restaurant, 4-star hotel, right on the front here in Santa Ponsa. Always plenty of birds here in Santa Ponsa. We used to come here and see hundreds and hundreds of parakeets in the trees.
And hear them.
Shade. One thing to look out for when you go to a beach just to make sure there is a lifeguard and that there is a green flag. Over the last couple of weeks, some of the beaches closer to Palma have had to close for various reasons. Even Magaluf, part of the Magaluf beach was closed. There seemed to have been an oil spill, an unexplained oil spill, which caused part of the beach to be closed. That was soon sorted, and even in Calamayor and Vietas, over the last few days, some strange things in the sea, so they've been looking at that and taking samples. It's all very carefully monitored, carefully controlled. Samples are taken to laboratories and they tested, and they didn't find anything dangerous there. Spanish families here coming down to have picnics in the shade. Some of them right down by the sea. Hello, Amanda. Good. Get the sand, get the salt off you. Just behind the beach in Santa Ponsa, this lovely shady area. And Santa Ponsa is one of the beaches where you actually got toilets. See a busy restaurant. Someone was asking me about where to park your car. Usually quite lucky, but we're a bit late when we came today, and we usually park by the sports complex. There's quite a big car park there. There were no spaces there, and if you're in Santa Ponsa, there's another car park just in front of us where you can see the cars coming out now. And again, it's a free municipal car park. So if you're lucky enough, you can find a free parking space. We didn't actually try this car park today. We were by the sports centre, and as we drove out, we found a parking spot on the road. Again, no charge for parking there in that particular spot. Other places though, you do have to look out for blue lines. They don't apply on a Sunday or Saturday afternoon, but do check the regulations, because they're not the same in every town. So Calvia's rules and regulations are not the same as Palma, for example, or the same as Poyensa or anywhere else on the island. So do be careful about parking. And I've also noticed a lot more vehicles on the road. Yesterday, the motorway that goes around Palma seemed to be very busy. There was no heavy traffic, there were no lorries, not even any coaches. It was just more cars, and we put that down to more rent-a-cars around. Seems like the ice cream sales are going well. Here we are at the watering hole. So we might just stop off here for a coffee or a beer. Just a nice little drink at the watering hole. If you're ever down in Santa Ponsa, great place to have a drink or something to eat. And they've got a fantastic swimming pool out at the back. Couldn't film it today really because there was lots of children around, so but it's worth having a look, and you can always have a cold dip and bring the children. They can have a dip too. We're going to cross the road and walk through the parking area. I don't think I've ever walked through here, maybe a mistake with all the birds in the trees, but we'll see. This looks to be the perfect place to have a picnic, yet it's discouraged. You're not allowed to have a picnic here, you're not supposed to.
I like to play cricket.
However, looks like a good place to play cricket.
And miss the ball.
No good. Can we walk on the grass, do you think? Or shall we walk along the path? We'll do it properly. You can see we've got the little fairgrounds here. Not sure whether they're going to open up later on or not. Lovely flowers from Anita there.
Same as in our garden. We had our lunch here, didn't we? That was nice.
Yeah, last time we came we had lunch just across the road there. Really good, great value. We're going to head back to our car now. Have a little taste of what Santa Ponsa's like. Remember, it is 20th of June 2020, and the pandemic is really affecting the businesses around here because of the lack of tourists. I'm just looking across the road at W, whatever W is. Someone I'm sure is going to tell me. It's got people there. I can see some of the doors are open, and I've just seen someone on one of the terraces. So that might be another hotel that's open. So Mikalia did say that 5 hotels out of 25 are open in Magaluf and in Santa Ponsa. And more will be open. Right, nearly back into our car now. So we say goodbye. Come round here, take the mask off. Well, we hope you've enjoyed our video. If you have, don't forget to subscribe, and you can give us a thumbs up. Please share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next video. So bye for now.
Bye.